A long time ago, I raised a son to know his Kubrick from his Kaczynski.
Now we're turning our arguments into content. This is I Am Your Father, where Gen X meets Gen Z in hyperspace.
I am Graham.
And I am Braden, the son.
Oh, that's right. How are you, son?
I'm doing good, other than the fact that I'm deathly ill.
Yeah, we're both sick. Because of me. I know.
Yeah.
So on our last episode, we mentioned we were getting ready to go on vacation. We went on that vacation. We went to Alaska.
Yeah.
It was a great trip.
It was a phenomenal trip.
Absolutely loved it. But with just a couple days left out on the glacier, the old man got sick. And I did everything I could to keep it from you guys, but I passed it off. I passed it down to the sun.
Yep. Now I've been sick for a solid week since
yeah,
we've
me
been
too.
home.
It's been over a week. I've been sick. It's a nasty cold.
COVID.
But we managed to squeeze in some films, and we've got some good stuff. So our main topic today, we're going to be covering 28 Years Later and F1, two new releases. But first, why don't we dive into our 10 and 20? Braden, kick us off.
Yeah. So our 10 and 20 is a quick little segment, hopefully about 20 minutes, where we cover 10 topics, roughly 2 minutes each. And we have lots to cover. It was hard to narrow it down to 10. In fact, I threw in a secret quick 11th here this week.
Oh, I mean, we had 12, 13, 14 potential topics this week. So it was a good week.
Yeah, it's hard to cut stuff. So I'll start us off with our number one. And that's that we have a second season of Kenobi rumored to be in development. This is being reported by a few of those insiders who are right more often than they're wrong. So take it with a grain of salt, but it seems like it might be happening, and I would love to know your thoughts on this. I think I already know, but I'd love to hear them.
I have no interest. I love Kenobi as a character. I obviously love Alec Guinness's performance, and I do appreciate Ewan McGregor's performance as well over the years, but I thought that the first season was an abomination. I thought it was terrible. I thought it was I thought it was canon trashing. I really couldn't stand it at all. So it had potential. Do I want more Obi-Wan? Yeah, I would prefer more Obi-Wan over more Anakin, to be honest. But I'm not sure they executed it the way I would have liked to have seen, so I have little faith in a second season.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to see it in a way that doesn't contradict your precious original trilogy.
It's not because it's my precious original trilogy. When you have canon and then you constantly go back and change that over and over again, it devalues the quality of the overall world.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you. I don't think season 1 of Kenobi was even very good anyways, except for I really enjoyed the last episode, but yeah, I mean, I digress.
So I'm anti, and you're nonplussed.
Yeah,
fair enough. All right. Well, topic number 2 for us this week. We have a new Bond director ready to go. Denis Villeneuve is of the Dune franchise is set to take over the helm for the Broccoli's and Amazon. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think this is pretty awesome. He's obviously a phenomenal director. I don't have any strong feelings. I've mentioned before on this podcast, I don't have super strong feelings towards the Bond movies or franchise. But this is one of those directors that at least gets me interested. I'd be curious to see who they cast. Again, I'm not like jumping up and down with excitement, but I find this pretty intriguing.
I think massive win for the Bond franchise. I think maybe a tiny bummer for film lovers. I think my concern here is that this means that Denis is tied up in franchise films for the foreseeable future. And
well, I saw that he's only signed on for one. Is what I've seen.
but he's got another Dune and he's got a Bond, right? Yeah. So, I mean, that's like 6 years. I feel like worth of content, right? And I while I am excited for both of those films, I also am I would love to know what he just could bring to us independently outside of existing IP.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll take us into number 3.
Okay.
I'm repping today. Nice little Batman shirt.
Yeah, I like it.
And that's because I'm celebrating. The Batman Part 2 script is officially complete and turned in, which means we're moving forward. This movie's getting made, period. It's happening for real, confirmed. It's been a little up and down, a little toxic, but I'm so happy. I'm just so happy. I love this movie, the first, and I want the new one as soon as possible.
Well, it's been toxic from your perspective?
Like a little toxic relationship where we're just begging and begging and begging. Very one-sided for the last, year.
Yeah, well, we just haven't heard much, but no, it was great to see. I think we'd heard too many rumors that things were going the wrong direction in terms of scheduling and things like that. And so the fact that we now know for sure that he's completed the script that he posted and many other people have posted that is exciting. I'm thrilled. I can't wait to see what they bring to a part 2 here. Really hoping that it delivers where the Joker didn't. And I like the idea of having this additional person at the helm of a DC franchise, not just James Gunn.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to take us to number 4 as well, because I know you're really excited about this. Michael Bay is returning for another Transformers movie. You can go ahead and jump up and down with excitement now. I know you're so thrilled.
I was not on Baywatch. I could literally live the rest of my life without ever seeing another Michael Bay film, and it would be fine. And for that matter, I haven't liked a single one of these. I may be in the minority of nerddom, but it's not my take. I think they're visually assaulting, and I'm not down for them. So and that's just what I feel about most Michael Bay films.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you on that one. I don't really like any of these Transformer movies. They're really not my thing. These guys all over TikTok just love these movies. Some of the guys I follow just love these movies so much, and it's just not me. I've tried. I've seen them all like 3 or 4 times.
When I was
a
kid,
why am I watching?
When I was a kid, you were either a G.I. Joe guy or a Transformers guy, and it was like I feel like there was a path to take. I was a G.I. Joe guy personally.
Well, did you know that they're connected now?
They're connected how?
In the most recent Transformers movie, there's a post-credit scene with the G.I. Joe.
Oh. Oh man, I stepped right into that. I had no idea because I didn't watch it. I watched the first Transformers movie, and I think I watched the second or third. Your uncle talked me into going to seeing it, and I was just like, I don't know. It doesn't capture my imagination. I find it really difficult to watch. I find it nauseating.
Yeah, me too. Fair enough.
Okay, so on to some additional news. On to a real filmmaker. David Fincher is, there's been a bit of talk about him right now, but he is developing potentially an American version of Squid Game. And we've also heard that he looks to be doing a multi-part film based on the Mindhunter series that he did. And so these are 2 potential next steps for Fincher. Sign me up for either. I'm on board. Fincher's one of my favorites, if not my favorite, and I'm down. I really want to know what he's going to do next. And both of these projects sound great to me. I loved Mindhunter. It's such a good show. Yeah. It's so disappointing that it didn't get a 3rd season, I think. And so yeah, what are your thoughts here?
Same. I'm excited. I love David Fincher as well. He does the gritty stuff really well, and I would love a continuation for Mindhunter. I think it's an absolute tragedy that we don't have more than the 2 seasons, and so I'd love a continuation of that. And a Squid Game by David Fincher also sounds awesome. So sign me up for both.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I would have been excited to hear that anyone else was doing Squid Game, American Squid Game. I agree. But in the hands of Fincher, I'm going to sit back and say yes, sign me up. I'm down for it.
Yeah. Well, we have some other news when it comes to follow-ups and sequels.
Yeah. Fincher related.
Fincher related as well, yeah. The Social Network is getting a sequel, officially announced a couple days ago as of recording. And I'm not entirely sure how to feel about this other than I think that the first one, The Social Network, is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. I think it's a perfect film.
I do too.
And obviously it's based on a true story, and a lot has happened since then. A lot. So
yeah,
it warrants a follow-up. I just am wondering if they're going to capture the same vibe, the same lightning in a bottle that first movie is.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens. I think obviously, I think Jesse Eisenberg has to be involved or it doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fact that it's an Aaron Sorkin project gives me hope. I'm a huge Aaron Sorkin fan, as you know. He wrote the script for the first Social Network, which is a perfect film. I do think he is a good director. I enjoy his directorial works, Molly's Game and Chicago 7 and others. But when I first heard this, I wasn't sure how to feel about it either. It was like a follow-up to the Social Network. It makes no sense. But then I thought exactly what kind of you just said. Like, well, where the Social Network ends, Facebook is about to be. And Facebook has had 2 or 3 more lives since then. So
they could make a few more.
Absolutely. So to tell that story makes a lot of sense, and I'm down for it. Knowing that Aaron Sorkin's involved, I'm in for sure.
Yeah. A little bit of box office news. A movie that neither of us have seen yet, Elio, is Pixar's worst performing movie to date in terms of box office. And I think that's a bummer. I think the movie actually looks cute, but if I'm just being so honest, I didn't feel like paying $10 or $20 if I take my wife, obviously, to go see this movie in theaters when I know it's going to be on Disney Plus in 2 months. So
yeah. I mean, I'm hearing good things about it. I'm hearing some good critics say that it's a good film. And some of them saying that it's one of their favorite Pixar films in years. But it wasn't enough to capture my interest as an adult male wanting to go see it. I know I'm not the target audience, but give me some grandkids and maybe I would have changed my mind about it. But but it's disappointing. Again, Pixar is still doing new things, and the fact that something new isn't performing is a bummer because we need newness in the movie industry right now.
We do, but I would also say that I don't know that it was marketed very well. I didn't even really know this movie was coming out till about a month ago. Yeah. And this is something that I pay attention to, So I feel like they didn't do a great job of building any interest in this movie, and I think that's part of the reason it's not doing well.
Do you think that the shine has worn off of Pixar in the sense that I feel like for the first 10 to 12 Pixar films that came out, at least, there was this amazement. Every time a new film came out, the technology had advanced. The style, the technique had changed in a way that when you even just seeing the trailer, you knew, you're like, oh my God, they did it again. They upped the ante. Now, when I look at Elio, it looks like it could have been an Amazon Prime movie. It could have been it could have been anything. That's
exactly right.
It doesn't visually look unique in any way. So I'm not necessarily signing up to go see it, even if it may have a great story. I think the thing that used to capture my imagination about Pixar seems to have passed.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And also the novelty of Pixar is wearing off a little bit, like you mentioned, and people are kind of realizing that they're kind of going 50-50 right now with their most recent releases. They've had some really good ones, and then they've had some completely forgettable ones.
Yeah.
And so I don't think they're putting them out like they used to in terms of constant quality.
Yeah.
But I'll watch it on Disney Plus.
I may or may not. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Speaking of Disney Plus and something that'll eventually get there, we now are hearing that there is a Mando and Grogu trilogy in the works, assuming that the first film is successful. How excited are you for more Star Wars in the theater and specifically the extension of this universe, Braden?
A few years ago, I would have been more excited. I love watching Star Wars in the theaters. I really, really do. And we're coming off of a super high right now with Andor.
Yeah.
And so almost for that reason, I'm a little nervous. I love The Mandalorian. I think the first 2 seasons are really, really good. I really was not a big fan of season 3, and it kind of just killed all the momentum that series had for me.
Yeah.
And so I am going to see this movie, but I don't know that I am dying to see it. I hope it's good when it comes out. I hope it kind of takes us back a little bit towards the earlier vibes for this part of the Star Wars universe. And if it's good, I'm going to be very happy to see these Star Wars movies in the theaters.
I mean, I'm going to see it. There's no way around it. I'm going to go see it.
Of course.
I'll be there on opening night. And they've built up that much credibility with me that I'll be there. But I am also, apprehensive. I'm a little apprehensive for the reasons that you just mentioned. I'm not quite sure where they're going to go with the story. I really wish that it had continued to be a, adventure of the week kind of tale with Mando. Yeah. But it turned into the Grogu saga, and I feel like there is only so much water that I can hold for that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
More Disney news, Marvel news in this case.
Marvel!
So I guess it's a little more Sony news, if anything. But we have Jon Bernthal officially returning in Spider-Man Brand New Day alongside Mark Ruffalo and Tom Holland. So it looks like we're going to be seeing the Punisher, Spider-Man, and Hulk on screen together. This is kind of madness, but also very interesting to me. And I'm the biggest Jon Bernthal Punisher fan. Yeah. So anything he's in, I'm going to be excited about, period. What are you feeling about this?
I'm so in. I love his version of Punisher. I love him. I've had season tickets to him for a really long time, obviously since The Walking Dead and other things. But I think his version of the Punisher is far and away the best we've ever seen. Yeah. And the fact that we're going to get that mixed in with arguably my favorite Spider-Man, not yours, but my favorite Spider-Man, as well as a really great Hulk as well. I'm pumped. I think it's it feels like a really good cocktail. I'm excited to drink it.
Well, and automatically you have a very interesting relationship there where we have Punisher, who is just murdering dudes, and then Spider-Man, who doesn't kill, right? And so if any way, shape, or form they're teaming up, that's going to be interesting, right? Yeah. So I'm excited for that alone. And if they are trying to take down a raging Hulk, that's pretty awesome too. So
for sure. For sure. All right. Well, speaking of people returning to franchises, Pirate 6 is in the works. We are hearing from Jerry Bruckheimer that some of the original cast will be returning. No confirmation on Johnny Depp, no confirmation necessarily on Orlando Bloom or Keira Knightley, but they're talking original cast for a Pirate 6. They're also talking a Pirate 7. They're talking a Pirates 8. This is not just a one-movie thing. They're talking about revamping the franchise. Man, do I want some Captain Jack Sparrow. Yeah. I really want him back.
I think the world could use some Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. They did Captain Jack dirty. And
they really did.
They really did. And I'm ready to go back. I'm personally ready to go back and rewatch. I need to do a rewatch of all of the Johnny Depp Pirates movies. What are your thoughts on this announcement from Bruckheimer?
Well, I'll just say that the Pirates franchise is one of those franchises that gets a little worse with each one. And especially after 3. There's a pretty major drop-off after 3.
For sure.
And I'm hoping we don't follow that trend moving forward. I'm hoping that they can find a way to capture the feel of that, the early 2000s original Pirates trilogy. It's magic. Truly, I think those movies are magic. especially the first few are just your perfect swashbuckling action adventure movies. And if we can get anything close to that again with that returning cast, I'm here for it. I love those movies. I rewatched them like within the last 4 or 5 months. I still love them. They're very dear to my heart.
It's been a number of years for me.
Yeah. And Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow is one of those all-time performances. So
it is. It really is.
So I'm excited. I hope he's back. I hope they find a good and compelling story to tell. And if they do, I'm going to be a little kid again.
That's our 10th topic, and we have 1 minute remaining. Do you want to squeeze in a bonus 11th topic?
Yeah, I'll touch on it real quick.
Let's do it.
Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey had its first poster released a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Along with the tagline. The poster was just, a statue, kind of. Statue in like the bottom 1/8 of the poster. And it says The Odyssey up top. And then the tagline, which, by the way, I never thought 3 words would get me so excited. And it just says, defy the gods. And I think that's such a cool tagline for this movie that I was already excited about.
Nolan knows us. He knows us.
He knows what we want. He knows what we like. And so, additionally, apparently, there is a teaser trailer now playing for The Odyssey in theaters attached to Jurassic World, which I will be seeing as soon as we're done recording, which means I will be seeing that teaser hopefully tonight. And I am ecstatic.
I'm going to try and squeeze it in tomorrow night. But, we'll see. Like, it's hilarious. The two of us are dying of illness, and we're going to just go infect an entire theater of people.
Several times, by the way.
Yeah. I'm down. I'm excited to see it. I think it's really interesting that it's something that that is already leaking in the internet. People are filming it and posting it. I'm not looking for it. I want to see it live myself. No. And by the way, I love this concept. This is old school idea, like release as an actual trailer in front of films without leaking it online, like yourself, without actually like delivering it to YouTube and delivering it to IMDb and delivering it everywhere else. So kudos Nolan for actually doing a legit trailer to get people to go to trailers.
Yeah, to theaters. Yeah, I mean, it's a great incentive to go see more movies. Yeah. I think we should see this more often. I think it's a great move. I think there are lots of studios and directors that should take notes here and maybe try this out moving forward. I'm very excited about it. And it has made me way more excited to go see Jurassic World than I was before.
You know what? Just say Scarlett Johansson and I'm in. So, all right, that concludes our 10 in 20. We did it more or less in 20. That's fantastic news.
Yeah, look at us.
Yeah, deep breath. Let's get into our main topic. We've got a dual main topic tonight. We've got 2 new films. We've got F1 and we've got 28 years later. Man, it's a coin flip. I'm not sure which one we should go into first. You have a choice? You have a preference?
F1 is freshest for both of us, I think.
Okay, so, yep, for sure.
Let's start on that, huh?
Yeah, dive in. What do you got for me? We both saw F1.
Yeah, in IMAX.
In IMAX, yeah. So
worth it, by the way.
This is an Apple film that we're going to theaters to see. So that's. I mean, I think that's a step in the right direction. Apple isn't necessarily known for getting people to theaters first, but and I gotta say, it was a little weird for me going to the theater and watching that Apple logo pop up.
It's the first time I've ever seen it. Actually,
it's maybe the second. I think for me, the first time was Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh, and I didn't see it in theaters though.
And but this is the second time that I've gone to the theaters to see an Apple film, but I wanted to see it in IMAX. Braden, what's your review of F1?
I thought it was really freaking awesome. I really liked it. I have nitpicks. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but for a sports movie, I think it did exactly what a good sports movie is supposed to do. They have to be a little cheesy, but they have to get your blood pumping. They have to get you excited. They got to have the good needle drops and the high highs and the low lows and the triumphant finish. That's the formula
Yeah.
to a good sport movie. And I will say, my interest in F1, the actual sport, 0%.
Yeah.
My interest in any kind of racing at all, no, it's non-existent.
Could you
In
have
this
named,
movie?
Could you have named an F1 driver
No.
before this?
I couldn't name anything about F1. I couldn't name a track, where they race. I couldn't name anything about F1. And
Where they
this
race,
movie,
one of them is in the city you live in.
that's true. I couldn't name that one. That's true. And I actually knew that they were here filming that when the race was happening. So that was kind of cool. But this movie did what I considered to be the impossible, and it made me care about F1. And not only did it make me care, during the race sequences, I caught myself literally squirming in my seat, like, and moving my head back and forth. It was shot in such a way that I found so intriguing. And I wasn't at all surprised. I didn't know beforehand, but I wasn't at all surprised to find out that this is the same guy who directed Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, you didn't know?
I didn't know. And so I think this guy knows how to give us exhilarating high-speed sequences in a way that really gets you invested. And I thought it was great. I thought it was really, really great. How about you?
I enjoyed the film. I think it's a good movie. I had fun. There's no doubt. But I think that I think that some of the things that you're talking about in terms of like what it does as a sports movie, to me, is where it failed. I also have zero interest in F1. It's not my thing. I did know who Lewis Hamilton was. I was aware of that individual, as the premier driver in today's F1 sport. But outside of that, I'm not an F1 follower. I think what failed for me was that the plot surrounded a sequence of what I would call like loopholes and like ways to sort of cheat the system.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, as I was watching, like the fact that the announcers had to consistently explain to me what was happening was part of the problem.
Really?
I think that a great sports movie, like I leave feeling like I'm an expert, even though I'm not.
Right.
But I think I am. I'm stupid. I'm stupid enough as an audience member to walk out of a great sports movie thinking that, oh, now I know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to combine. I'm going to go back to Kosinski's last movie, Top Gun Maverick, and say the same thing. Like, I walk out of that film thinking that I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about naval aircraft. Yeah. Obviously, I don't. But I walk out of that feeling like, oh yeah. Obviously, it's this. You have to do this. Blah, blah, blah. As I was watching F1 the entire time, I kept thinking to myself, I legitimately still don't really understand the sport at all. At all.
Really?
Yeah. And I think that it tried at times to explain it to me, but ultimately not in a way that I felt like was satisfactory. So I feel like it failed for me a key test of a sports movie, which is to educate me about the sport in a way that's true. Now, again, it did try and tell a story, but I think the things I learned was how to cheat at F1. I feel like what I didn't learn was really about the sport, and that's where my fault was. Now, did I appreciate Brad Pitt? Yes. Did I appreciate all the other actors, Javier Bardem and everyone, Justin Pierce, the actor who played Justin Pierce. I loved everybody. Kerry Condon. It was an entertaining film, but I still left feeling confused, and that was the part that fell short for me. So to me, it was a solid 3. I'm giving it a 3 stars. And I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I would watch it again, but I don't really feel like it was unfortunately transcendent.
Yeah. I don't think it was transcendent. And I think Top Gun Maverick is better.
For sure.
Easily. I think Top Gun Maverick is a phenomenal movie. I kind of disagree with you on a lot of what you said. Not necessarily saying that wasn't your experience, but it just was not mine. I felt that I was fully grasping what was happening and why. I felt like I understood the rules, even though I didn't know a single rule going into this movie. And I felt by the end of it special as I was getting into my car to drive home, ready to go really fast, you know? So I feel like your experience with all of those beats was opposite to my experience with them. But I also went in with kind of low expectations. I don't know where you were at with that. And so I was surprised by this movie, surprised by how into it I was and my physical reaction to a lot of these scenes. It was at its height during the racing for me. And some of the parts that dragged it down were some of the story beats. And so I personally gave it a 4 stars. And there was a minute in there where I was like, is this going to be a 4.5 star movie for me? Ultimately, no. I'm pretty comfortable at 4 stars. And I am also very curious to see how it translates once I rewatch it on my TV at home. You know, maybe it'll drop. I'm not sure. But I thought it was really great. And I have some interesting little facts and tidbits about the movie if you want to dive in.
Yeah, dive in. Let's do it.
Yeah. So the movie made 144 million opening weekend on a 200 million budget.
That's fantastic.
It overperformed by a lot. Nobody thought it was going to do this well, and it did really well. Mind you, this is the highest opening of Brad Pitt's career.
Crazy.
Which is crazy. The highest opening weekend of the year so far.
Yeah.
And they greenlit a sequel immediately. I'm assuming based off of this performance, which is interesting, and we'll dive into that in just a moment. But what I found very interesting is that before this movie even came out, it made back a quarter of its budget, and in a really interesting way. And this is divisive. I haven't listened to why it's divisive, but I've heard that it is. And what this movie did, is they sold advertising and sponsorship rights while filming the movie.
Yeah.
You know, the stickers and logos all over the car and the costumes.
Yeah.
Or not the costumes, the suits. Those brands paid to advertise on this fictional F1 team.
No doubt. Not surprising. I mean, that's a massive aspect of F1, NASCAR, etc. Yeah.
I'm sure somebody will love to tell me or educate me on why this is actually unethical and wrong. But I think it's really clever.
It's not.
I think that's really smart and a really smart way for them to spend this much money on a movie and already make a quarter of their budget back before the movie ever even released. So by that number, it's made its money back already.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm down, and honestly, I would watch a sequel. There's no doubt. I would watch a sequel. I just didn't feel the same way that I did coming out of, let's say, like Miracle or Rocky, or like I didn't learn so much about the sport that I felt like an expert. Now, and I think that's primarily because so much of it was about like so much of the film was about like gaming the system.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to understand more, but I didn't. And so, like I said, for me, a 3 is a really good movie. I liked it. I really did. It didn't transcend anything for me. And there were times when I felt like even from Brad Pitt standards, he was giving us the greatest hits.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a
big Brad Pitt fan. Me too. Brad Pitt. Yeah.
Yeah. We've been subscribers for a long time.
No doubt. No doubt.
I do have a little bit of a critique against you when it comes to your rating system. I want to know how a 3 is really good when a 2.5 is average. Like a 2.5 by definition is average, and then one step up from that is really good.
Well, so hold on. I'll pull this up because so I have 3 as good. Sorry, not really good. So 3 is good.
Okay.
3.5 for me, or 3.5 stars is really good.
All right. So are you standing on business with that 3-star rating?
I am. I'm giving it a 3. I think it's good. And I'm critical because there are things most things I think are not good, but I think it's good.
Fair enough.
It doesn't hit. So for me, like 3.5 is really good and 4 is great.
Yeah.
4.5 is almost perfect and 5 is perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know that I think it was above very good. No, I don't. I think it was good. I don't think it was better than good.
All right. Fair enough. Just checking.
No, it's fine. It's interesting because since I put these really specific definitions to my letterbox, more and more movies are falling shorter than I would have they might have previously.
Yeah, it's good to have a reference for sure.
A system
in my head.
You need a system.
No, you do. You really do. And so for reference, my 4-star is really great. Or great, really. It's just great. And that's where I have it. I thought it was a great movie.
Your 4 is great?
My 4 is great.
Yeah.
My 3.5
my 4 is great.
Is
4
really
for
good.
me is also great.
Yeah. And so I would have it in the great category, but that I had a really great experience in that theater. So again, I don't know that it'll translate well. And so it definitely could drop on rewatch. But that's where I stand for now.
Fair enough. Well, we also saw another movie this week. We had another premiere a little ahead of this. 28 years in the making, maybe a little more. But 28 years later, we both watched. This is the third installment of the 28 series from Danny Boyle. Zombies, my friend. What did you think?
So spoiler alert, I'm pretty sure we're about to have the exact same conversation again. Where I'm sitting around a 4 and you're sitting around a 3. I'm pretty sure we're just going to repeat here. It would have been a little more interesting if maybe we swapped or something like that, but nope. We are steady all the way through. Yeah, I liked it a lot. Again, I thought it was really good. It might be my favorite of the 3. It might be. That's the first time I've even thought where it would rank. So I might have to think about it a little more. I actually don't even know what I have the first one ranked. I know the second one is not my favorite of the 3, so I'm not worried about that. But I thought it was really phenomenal. I thought it was shot beautifully and edited.
I agree.
Really artistically and interesting. I'm sitting there. If I'm watching a movie and I am actively thinking like, wow, the editing on this is incredible, or like the creative leaps and bounds that they're taking here are really interesting. Like if I'm actively thinking that while watching a movie, I think that says something.
Yeah.
And I felt that watching it. They made a lot of decisions that I thought were really unique and interesting. And some of them were very interesting. And I have some gripes and nitpicks, but again, I think this is a great movie. I think Danny Boyle returning to direct the third one, and obviously now 2 more after this. I like these movies. I'm excited for these monster movies, and I thought that this one was not in any way a letdown. I thought it was very good.
Definitely not a letdown. I mean, Danny Boyle changed the zombie genre. In many ways, he and his work should be credited for what we get out of The Last of Us, The Walking Dead, etc. I think 28 Days Later to me is a seminal work. And I found 28 Years Later to be I thought it was great. I thought I enjoyed it. It was good. Well,
no, you didn't think it was great.
I thought it was good. Yeah, I thought it was really good. To me, again, that 3-star rating is tough to break. I thought it was really good. I thought that the performance of Samson was maybe a 3.5 or a 4, but other than that, generally speaking, I gave it a 3. And to me, it was similarly predictable to the second film. In so much as I was able to follow the beats and I enjoyed it. It was a great film. But the first film, 28 Days Later, I was 100% completely on the edge of my seat. I was caught off guard the entire time. I never knew what was happening. But unfortunately with this one, as it relates to the second film as well, like, you know, I was on the same page. I was keeping up. And so to me, it falls, 2 or 3. It doesn't match the same magic that the first film had.
I'll tell you what I was caught off guard by, and it was the giant zombie dong swinging all over the screen.
Well, that's what I said. I said, were it not for Samson, that Samson got a 4.5 or 3.5 or a 4.
Yeah, no, my favorite review.
That was a big zombie dick.
Yeah, my favorite review for this movie, the top review on Letterboxd was 28 inches later, and it made me laugh so hard.
That was for sure. That was for sure that.
But no, yeah, I mean, that's really interesting what you say, and I agree. The zombies in the very first movie to this day are the most jarring, for sure. Like, even the way that the sound is edited in that movie, it kind of just like blasts your ears off, and you feel like shaken up when a zombie attacks. And I have to give that to the first one. Mind you, I just checked, and I have the first one also rated a 4. So I have them both at a 4. And I'm going to have to sit on it for a little while, maybe see it again, both of them again, before I finalize a ranking. But I feel like this movie did really good in a lot of ways too, especially with the zombies in towards the beginning when I'm forgetting the characters' names now, unfortunately. But when the father and son go out on their mission, I felt that tension, that anxiety, all the way until they were back. I thought that was really good. Everything having to do with that. And as one of the alphas is chasing them down the path all the way back, I fully believed that one of them, or even potentially both of them, were going to get grabbed by that thing, So I was definitely on the edge of my seat for plenty of this movie. It then took it in a completely different direction than I expected it to for the second half, just leaving Aaron Taylor Johnson behind completely.
Oh, yeah.
Until the very end of the movie. And there were some pretty brutal and graphic moments that were pretty jarring as well in this one. Like ripping heads off and stuff like that. There was still a lot of that, and
no doubt.
And I also think that Ralph Fiennes' performance was great. I liked him a lot in this movie.
I loved him. He was fantastic.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I think that there was so much about this movie that I really enjoyed, and specifically, or I should say most prominently, its look and aesthetic and the way it was edited, I thought were all like top tier for me. No. And it was just some of the story beats I think maybe didn't hit me as hard emotionally as I would have liked them to. And that's what ultimately had it a little lower than I think it could have been.
Well, Danny Boyle is an expert, and the fact that he tied it all together is not surprising. I think the combination of Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, it makes perfect sense. It delivered what we wanted to deliver, but I mean, to me, it felt a tiny bit short of the original, but I think it probably exceeded the second film, which I've always found strange.
Just probably?
No, it well, yeah, probably. But to me, the number of people that have talked up the second film as being even better than the first. I've never understood. It just doesn't. It doesn't resonate the same way as the first film. So to me, right now, I think it's 1, 3, 2. That's how I'd rank them.
Yeah, and nobody can really argue with that ranking. I don't feel like. I think it has to be 1, 3, 2, or 3, 1, 2. But I think 1, 3, 2 is probably
3. You're saying there's an argument that this is the best of the 3.
I think there's an argument. It's fresh though, and with things. I mean, this other movie came out like 25 years ago. Plus something like that.
Yeah, 20 years ago. Yeah.
And so I think with a franchise like this, I think with a franchise like this, you kind of have to let it breathe for a minute. This franchise, no, it's 2002. The first one is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no,
2007
no.
since the sequel, you're saying?
Yeah, that was the sequel.
So this franchise, this, mind you, trilogy is, 23 years old? Or 3 movies spanning over the course of 23 years. So I think that in and of itself demands like a little breathing room, like no recency bias, please. How do you feel about the way this movie was shot? Like, you can't deny, at least in the way it was shot, this movie was shot beautifully versus the second one. I couldn't even think of genuinely anything outside of the opening sequence that I remember from the second one.
Well, Danny Boyle is a true director. Like, there's no way to move past the idea that Danny Boyle isn't going to be innovative. He's an innovative director. So what he brings to 28 Days Later and what he brings to 28 Years Later, it's not surprising to me that it's better. It's in better hands if you give it to Danny Boyle.
Yeah. No, I'd agree. All right. Well, I mean, we're basically on the same page as we were for F1. But let's go over some other things about this movie. It's pretty well known at this point that this movie was shot using iPhones.
Amazing.
And plenty of those iPhones had attachments and stuff like that to enhance and change the way it shoots. But that in and of itself is really interesting. And it's also incredible to me how good the movie looks with that being the case. I think that's a really great way to show, like, hey, you can actually make movies. Like, anybody can make movies with their phone.
Danny Boyle, Steven Soderbergh. I mean, these guys are leading are leading the charge for people who can deliver films like literally in your hand.
Yeah, which is really cool. Additionally, it has the highest Rotten Tomatoes score and audience score of the series. So, I mean, there we go. There's an argument right there, for it at least being more widely well received, which is interesting. And it also did really well for an R-rated horror movie, in a sense. It made $60 million opening weekend on a $60 million budget. It made its money back first weekend.
We've had a good 2 weeks.
Yeah, we have.
In terms of people showing up to the theater.
And mind you, I think it needed to make that much money opening weekend because it is stiff competition coming up here. Already you have a Jurassic movie, and those movies make $1 billion every time.
We have a Jurassic movie. We have a Fantastic Four movie. Like we've got some
F1,
big competition.
Superman, all this stuff just within like 3 weeks of 28 Years Later. All within
people
like 3 weeks.
Up. Listen, last night I went to see F1, and it was a full theater on a Tuesday night.
Right,
it's crazy.
Yeah, mine too. And I saw it on Tuesday at 1:20.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's awesome.
Yeah. People
it's
are
exciting.
seeing these films. It's good. It's good to see. I'm excited to see it.
I do have a question for you.
Hit me.
How are you feeling about the last scene of this movie?
It was interesting. It was almost as if obviously it was setting itself up for a sequel in some way.
Yeah.
it was paying tribute to those of us who watched the first scene as well as the end scene, which was kind of all of us. So from that perspective, I guess at the end of the day, I found myself a bit in the middle about how it ended.
Yeah, I thought it was rather bizarre. It felt like the Power Rangers showed up, started kicking zombie ass.
Yeah.
And and I don't love when they do this, but it only makes sense in the context of setting up a sequel, Otherwise, it was just... I went and saw this movie with my grandpa, and the movie ended, and he said he has no idea that they're making 2 more. And he looks at me and goes, "What?" And I have a feeling that that's going to be plenty of people's response to the ending of this movie. And even though I knew that it was setting up a sequel, I was kind of in that same boat with the what just happened. That felt like a completely different movie than what I just watched.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting.
2 good films this week.
And I would say 2 great films.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. So good week for us, and good episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Homework.
Should we close things out?
Yeah. Let's go over homework. I will be the first to admit that I unfortunately, though I had 2 weeks, did not complete my homework assignment.
What the hell?
You wanted me to watch my second ever Alfred Hitchcock movie, North by Northwest.
Yeah.
And I did not, because it was not free anywhere. So instead, I watched Rear Window.
That's a good film.
Another one by him. I know it's not what I was assigned, but I watched that, and I thought that was good. And I will watch North by Northwest.
How did you feel about Rear Window?
About Rear Window? I liked it a lot. I think I feel like Psycho aged better than Rear Window. But I did like Rear Window a lot too, and I am a fan personally of stories that are told in a singular location. I always find that a fun boundary to set on a story, and so for that reason I was automatically intrigued, and I thought it was good. I really liked it. I don't remember what I rated it. I think I probably gave it
you gave it a good rating.
Yeah, I think I probably gave it a 3.5 or maybe even a 4, because there's a part of me that just like also acknowledges like what this movie probably was when it came out, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I could appreciate that while I was watching it. So not my homework assignment, but something close. And I will watch my homework assignment as soon as I find it free somewhere, or as soon as I am not strapped for cash from all these vacations we're going on.
Fair enough. Well, Rear Window is a great film, so I'm glad at least you watched that.
Yeah. What did you get assigned?
I was assigned A Place Beyond the Pines, which I watched, and I enjoyed. I thought it was great. Well, again, these are
you thought it was good.
I thought it was good. I felt like there was less payoff than I would have liked to have understood. When Gosling's character ultimately dies prematurely, and then we move on to a whole other version of the film. I enjoyed it, but at the same time, like, I signed up for a Ryan Gosling film. I didn't sign up for a Bradley Cooper film.
Yeah,
and so in some ways, I felt like it was disappointing, because like I had a certain expectation, and then it went a different direction, which was unfortunately less satisfying. But ultimately, I still thought it was a good movie.
I had a feeling that I knew it was going to be polarizing. I knew you were either going to appreciate the subversion of your expectations, or you were not. And that's why I told you to go into it blind. And that's how I watched it.
Did.
Was blind. I had no idea. And so when that happened, I was thrown for a loop, and the movie became something that I had no idea it was going to become, and that I appreciated.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you at least enjoyed it.
I did.
And And I'd agree with you. I signed on for a Ryan Gosling movie. That's why I watched the movie originally.
No. We didn't even touch on the new Ryan Gosling movie trailer that we got this week.
We didn't because I haven't seen it intentionally.
I know.
Maybe I'll watch it, but
Project Hail Mary, it was good. I haven't read the book yet. I really wanted to read the book, but I haven't yet.
The book is on my read list. So if you
it's
get
on
it on
mine
Audible,
too. It's on mine too.
If you get it on Audible, we can listen to it together.
I think it's already there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
All right. Well, then I will listen to it. I actually really want to. So maybe we can try to get through that before the movie comes out.
There you go. Okay. So this week's homework assignment. Braden, do you have an assignment for me?
I do. And this is a movie that came out this year? Definitely not last year, but maybe this year. I think it came out this year. Okay. And I am not expecting this to be a 5 or a 4.5 or a 4 for you at all. It's not that kind of movie. It's just one of those anxiety, but also kind of fun, scary movies. And it is called Speak No Evil. And not generally the kind of movie you appreciate, but the draw here is James McAvoy. And he's putting on, I would say, the lead performance, if not the lead, at least a co-lead in this movie. And for that reason, I think you might enjoy it. He puts on a good performance. It's fun. It is by no means a steak dinner. It is, some fast food. But I think it's enjoyable, and I think it's worth watching for James McAvoy. And it's on Amazon Prime. It is free. I checked. And I think you'll enjoy it. I hope you'll enjoy it a little bit.
All right. Speak No Evil. Got it. Fair enough. Okay. I am giving you the Clint Eastwood classic, Unforgiven. Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman, Gene Hackman. This is an all-time classic Western, but also a befitting climax to The Man with No Name.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping you enjoy it and make it a part of your long-term viewing concept.
Yeah,
so
it's a Western,
Unforgiven.
right?
Yes, it's a Western.
I like a good Western, so I'm excited for that reason.
Yeah, for sure. So
Sweet.
Unforgiven for you.
I'll do it.
Well, we've ranked, we've debated, though not about who shot first. We haven't even really talked about that, have we?
We have not.
But it's all just another day in the galaxy.
Yep. So whether you're Gen X, Gen Z, or somewhere lost in the timeline, please continue to listen, like, share, and subscribe to I Am Your Father.
Until the next episode, remember that with great power comes a great second breakfast. But winter is also coming, so may the force live long and prosper.
Because we can do this all day. Sweet. Peace.
See ya.